critical thinking is based on facts, not on opinions, but on facts. Basically, it is a way to judge for yourself, to decide for yourself whether generally held opinions, widely held beliefs are actually true. Are they in line with what you are actually observe? So it's an activity where we analyze facts to form an opinion. We need to carefully distinguish between beliefs, and beliefs is something that is untested, and we need to distinguish whether beliefs that are reasonable and logical from those that lack adequate evidence. So basically, like one of the widely held beliefs in the Netherlands is there's a saying like avondrood, water in de sloot. It means like if the evening sky turns red, tomorrow we'll have rain. It is a widely held belief, but it's not based on facts. It's not based on anything. So
what does it mean, belief?
A belief is an untested statement. It's
untested statement.
Untested statement. So, like for example, like if the evening sky turns red, then tomorrow we will have rain. Is a belief. It's something that farmers used to say 100 years ago. When they didn't have the weather forecast on the radio, basically they had some rules of thumb to predict the weather for themselves, and this is one of those sayings. But then, if you would hear that, and if you would be a critical thinker, you say, "Wait a minute, is that really true?" And a critical thinker might actually look for statistics to test and say, "Okay, well, let's see when we have a red sky in the evening, how often do we actually get rain?" And then we could falsify that belief. So you need to verify the widely held belief against your own observations, and then apply logic. Apply some kind of logic. So that is this is evening red means water, means rain, is a statement that doesn't lack any adequate evidence. There is no statistic that support that widely held belief. So critical thinking is very much rational, skeptical. The premise is, I don't believe it unless it actually fits within my framework.
This sentence says, so from those that lack adequate evidence, right? And they try to lead into reasonable logical solution, right?
That lack evidence.
From those that lack adequate evidence,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
It means from vague information, they try to get reasonable logical solution.
Distinguish. So you need to distinguish beliefs that have a reasonable. So basically, what
distinguish means selecting, right?
No, distinguish. Okay, you need to classify beliefs that have a reasonable foundation and that are beliefs that are basically untested. So if a parent would tell its children that oh look, the sky is red, tomorrow we will have rain, that might a critical thinking child might think, is that really true? But if the parent would tell their children, it will the weather forecast is telling us that we will have -0 nights for the next 5 days in a row. So probably we will be able to go ice skating this weekend. Kids might deduct, okay, well, if it is freezes and there is no rain or snow or high temperatures during the day forecasted, then actually this belief is probably true, because it's the underlying argumentation here is that based on the weather forecast, and we know from experience that the weather forecast is rather accurate. So we might logically deduct that, or critically think and come to the conclusion that, okay, this belief that my parent tells me that we might be able to go ice skating on this weekend, then okay, that is a belief that that is reasonably true. While the other statement that, okay, because the evening sky turns red, critical thinking child would say, well, that's nonsense, because there is nothing underlying that assumption that is true. It's just a
red sky means lack adequate evidence.
Yes, that lacks adequate evidence.
But children leading to reasonable logical conclusion, belief.
No, children who would actually have a skeptical attitude towards what parents are telling them would conclude that, okay, but my parent, based on what are they telling me that we will have rain tomorrow based on the red sky? But what truth is there in connecting a red sky with rain? It's just a saying. There is no statistical evidence for this. There is no actual nothing that supports his opinion other than
this sentence said from those that lack adequate evidence.
Yes. So carefully distinguishing beliefs that are reasonable. So the beliefs that are reasonable is a belief that we will be able to skate based on the weather forecast, right? Because the weather forecast has a certain kind of accuracy. Based on observation, we can say, well, the weather forecast is rather accurate. And if we know that it will freeze overnight and we will not have high temperatures during the day and there is no rain or snow forecasted, right? Okay, so that I agree with my parent that that we might be able to go ice skating this weekend. But if parent would then on another occasion would say like, okay, oh, tomorrow we will have rain. Oh, why is that? Oh, look at the sky, it turns red. So did you listen to the weather forecast or no? But that was a saying that my grandfather would say to me, like, oh, look at the evening red means rain. Is there any evidence for that? No. Well, so a skeptical child would then say, well, I'm not so sure that what you are saying to me right now is true. So that's distinguishing. A critical thinking child distinguishes the information that he receives from its parent, whether this is actually true or not true. So I remember as a child that I had a kind of like a breakthrough moment, because until the age of around 9 or 10, I believed everything my parents said, because they were the closest thing to God to me. Everything my parents said were true because they were my parents and they knew everything, I thought. Then at a certain day in school, our teacher was telling something or gave his opinion about something that happened on television.
But red sky following day, right?
That is a saying. So basically, distinguish. A critical thinking child distinguishes, that doesn't automatically accept everything his parents say. Because he will look at, okay, so is this just a belief, or does this belief have any solid foundation? So the only foundation that my father could give for, oh, look at the evening, a red evening sky means rain. The only reasonable explanation that my father could give for that was that his grandfather told him that. Like he told him, like, oh, if the the evening sky turns red, that means we have rain. That's it. There is no other evidence for that.
So we are going to reasonable check and logical consideration.
Yes. So we're not going to accept everything our parents tell us if we're critical thinking children. So we need to distinguish between just a belief or something that is reasonably, logically speaking, is true. So when I was 9 years old, my teacher told A, right? They told us A, and then when I came home, my parents told us, no, the teacher's wrong. It's actually B. But what could I do? Because I believed my teacher always told the truth and told what was right, and then my parents always told what was right. But what they were saying was they couldn't be reunited. They couldn't be united because they had different opinions. And then I realized, like, hey, maybe my parents are not always right, or maybe my teacher is not always right. The only one who could decide who was right was me. So that's the moment I started to actually think for myself.
Oh, this is based on reasonable and logical.
Yes. So it forced me to start thinking for myself and not just simply accept everything that my parents were telling me or